I never liked mirrors. On most worlds, scars made people uncomfortable. On others, they made you dangerous. On Keltar Prime, the homeworld of the Varkan, they made you weak. At least, that's what I believed before she looked at me. I stood in the preparation chamber of the Crimson Arena, shirtless under the cold white lights, while a pair of alien attendants adjusted the neural dampeners around my wrists. My reflection stared back from the polished obsidian wall, pale human skin mapped with old damage, burn marks along my ribs, a jagged line across my shoulder where shrapnel had kissed bone, smaller scars layered over larger ones, like history written in flesh. I exhaled slowly. This wasn't supposed to happen. I was a logistics officer, a survivor of wars humanity barely talked about anymore. I wasn't meant to be standing on a warrior world, awaiting judgment by a species that believed combat was the highest form of truth. Yet here I was, a prisoner of circumstance and of history. "You are finished," one attendant clicked, stepping back. The chamber doors hissed open, and that's when she entered, beginning, the warrior who looked closer. She moved with the confidence of someone who had never doubted her place in the universe. Tall, broad-shouldered, her armored plating etched with ritual markings, she was unmistakably Varkan. Her species was built for war, dense muscle, reinforced bone ridges, eyes that missed nothing. A plasma glaive rested magnetically against her back. She was watching me. Not my hands. Not my restraints.
Me.
"You are the human," she said. Her voice was calm, deep, unmocking. I replied. "I am Karzai," she said. "Blade Captain of the 7th Legion." That title carried weight. Even I knew that. "I've heard of you," I said. Her mandibles twitched. Amusement, I'd later learn. "And yet," she said, stepping closer, "you hide." "I'm not hiding," I said automatically. Her gaze dropped to my torso. "These scars," she said. "You keep them uncovered, yet your posture suggests shame." I clenched my jaw. "They're old." She reached out. I stiffened, but she didn't touch me. Her fingers hovered inches from the longest scar on my chest. "These scars," I asked bitterly. "They're just reminders of mistakes." She smiled. Not cruelly, not dismissively, proudly. "Each one," she said, "is a victory." The words hit harder than any weapon. I stared at her. "You're joking." "I do not joke about survival," Karzai replied. She straightened and turned toward the arena doors.
"Come," she said.
"The council waits, and I would know your story." Middle. What scars mean to the Varkan. The Crimson Arena wasn't designed to kill. It was designed to reveal. Rows of Varkan warriors filled the elevated platforms, their armor gleaming under red light. At the center stood a circular stone dais carved with the names of those who had faced judgment and lived. Most names belonged to Varkan. Very few belonged to outsiders. I stood alone on the dais, unarmed, while Karzai addressed the council. "This human was recovered from the wreckage near our border," she said. "His vessel destroyed. His crew dead." A low rumble spread through the chamber. "He survived," she continued. "Not by luck, but by endurance." One of the elders leaned forward. "Endurance is not victory." Karzai turned, eyes blazing. "It is," she said, "when the universe is trying to kill you." She gestured toward me. "Look at him." Reluctantly, they did. "He bears the marks of war without having sought glory," she said. "He has lost battles and lived. That alone demands respect." An elder scoffed. "Scars are proof of failure." Karzai's voice hardened. "Among your people," she said. "Not among mine." She stepped beside me. "In Varkan tradition," she said, A scar earned in defense of others is sacred. A scar earned in retreat is wisdom. A scar survived is a lesson paid for in blood. She looked down at me.
Tell them, she said.
How did you earn these? The arena was silent. I swallowed, and I spoke. I told them about evacuation corridors held too long, about pulling people from burning hulls while alarms screamed, about surviving ambushes that wiped out entire units, about choosing who lived when there weren't enough hands.
I didn't dramatize it. I didn't glorify it.
I just told the truth. When I finished, no one spoke. Then Karzai placed her fist over her chest and bowed.
To me.
One by one, the warriors followed. The elders didn't. Not yet. The challenge. The human is still weak, an elder finally said. Endurance without strength is meaningless. Karzai turned sharply. Then test him. The elder's eyes gleamed. Agreed. The floor beneath us shifted. A training drone rose from the stone, sleek, armed, fast. Combat simulation. My heart dropped. I'm not a fighter, I said under my breath.
Karzai didn't look at me.
Neither am I, she said quietly. I am a survivor who learned to fight. The drone activated. I moved before thinking. Not with power, but with memory. I used angles. Timing. Let the drone overextend. Took hits where I could afford them. Redirected energy blasts away from vital points. It wasn't elegant. It was desperate. When the drone finally collapsed in a shower of sparks, I was on one knee, gasping, blood seeping from a reopened scar. The arena was silent again. Karzai walked to me and knelt. She touched the fresh wound, gently. A new victory, she said. The elders conferred. At last, the highest among them stood. The human will not be executed, he declared. He will be honored. Murmurs erupted. Karzai helped me to my feet. You did not fight like a Varkan, she said softly. I know, I replied. She smiled again. You fought like someone who refuses to die. Ending. What remains after the war? I stayed on Keltar Prime longer than planned. Long enough to heal. Long enough to learn. The Varkan didn't celebrate conquest. They celebrated survival. Their scars were not hidden. They were recorded, remembered, respected. Karzai trained with me, not to make me stronger, but smarter. She never mocked my limits. She never pushed past my pain. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, she traced a scar along my arm. This one, she said. You flinch. Old nerve damage, I replied. She nodded. Pain that stays teaches caution. And this one? I asked, pointing to a deep gouge along her side. She smiled faintly. I lived when my squad did not. We stood in silence. Do humans honor scars? She asked. I thought about it. Some hide them, I said. Some forget what they cost. She considered that. Then perhaps, she said, we honor them for you. When I finally left Keltar Prime, I wasn't the same man who had arrived. I still had my scars. But now, when I looked at them, I didn't see failure. I saw proof.